In this lesson, you will learn how to implement an AR scene with 2D image as a marker, and also you will see the implementation on how to detect the ground and put the 3D model on the ground without using an image as a 2D marker or any kind of markers. So if you want to know how to do this, keep watching the full lesson.
We want to learn how we can implement an AR application by AR Foundation. Initially, you need to download and install the Unity engine on your computer. After you do that, you need to open it and create a new project and come here, File, and Build Settings, and make sure that your platform is already Android. As a default platform, it is PC, Mac, and Linux, but you need to change it to Android. After you do that, you need to go Window and Package Manager. In this Package Manager, you have to find AR Foundation and make sure you click it on the highest version of AR Foundation. For me, it is 4.1.7 and install on your project. After installation of AR Foundation, you need to install AR Core XR plugin. Make sure it is the same version by AR Foundation. As you can see, it is 4.1.7, exactly the same version of AR Foundation. Once you finish installation of AR Core XR plugin, you need to close the Package Manager and come back to the Build Settings again, and in here you can click on Player Settings. I close it. In here you have to do some actions to set up all features for AR Foundation. At first you need to write your company name. Here I wrote Mecharithm and the product name, and in here in the other settings, make sure the graphics APIs doesn't have Vulkan, because Vulkan doesn't work with AR Foundation and you will have a problem with that. As a default for you, it is Auto Graphics API check on. You need to check off it, and after that click on the Vulkan and remove it. The next step is assure the multi-threaded rendering is checked off because it is not suitable for AR Foundation. The next step is in here target API level and minimum API level. The target API level must be automatic, and also minimum API level must be at least API level 24. Less than API level 24 don't work on the AR Foundation and your application will have problem. The next step is you need to change the scripting backend to IL2CPP and click on API compatibility level to .NET 4X. Because you want to test it on any device, especially on that device which has Android 11, you need to check on the ARM64 as a target architectures. Once you do that, you need to do a final step of XR plugin in management. You have to click in here and click on the AR Core. Check on it, and once to do that, it is ready to use. In the next step, we want to learn how we can implement an AR application by 2D image as a marker. Alright, now we want to implement an AR scene with 2D image as a marker. In the beginning, we need to come to the game object. As you can see, we have XR section. and in here you need to click on AR session origin and drag it on your scene. As you can see, we have AR session origin with AR camera. Make sure your AR camera's tag is main camera. It is very important. And I propose to change these variables to be able to see your marker from far distance. For example, 1000. All right, let's save our scene as a 2D marker. Perfect. Okay, the next step is come back to the game object, XR, and add AR session. It's very important to tracking our objects or variables into the scene. Okay, we need to use a marker for our referencing the 3D objects in the real world. For now, I want to use this image as a reference of our 3D objects in scene. Okay, we need to add some options to the AR session origin. Click on AR session origin and add component. In here, you need to write image and you can find AR tracked image manager. Once you click it, you have it on your AR session origin. In here, you need to click right on your assets folder and go to the create, and in here in XR you have reference image library. Click on it and we say 2D image, 2D, sorry, markers. Perfect. And click on AR session origin and drag and drop these 2D markers to serialized library. It's ready to add our new markers. Perfect. Click on 2D marker and in here add image. In here you can drag and drop your texture file and you in AR Foundation use it as a marker. Here we click on it and I've added the marker image into the asset project. Perfect. In here you need to click on specify size and change your scale of real image as a size of your image in the 3D world. Let's say something like that, and keep texture at runtime. Perfect. Now it's try to saving. We have to wait for saving scene. All right, now we have a marker. In here we have another parameter. It's called maximum number of moving images. If you want to track only one image, you need to write 1. If you want to have 2 or 3 markers simultaneously in one scene, in one view, you need to write, for example, 3 or 5. In here, I'm using 1 because I want to track only one image. Now it's time to add our 3D model into the scene, which we want to show it on the position of that marker in the real world. I've added a 3D model, it's called Robot, into the scene. I'm using only this one, I don't need to, and change the name of it to Robot. Oh, at first we need to come game object, on light, and add direction light to be able to see the 3D model better. Right now our 3D model is inside of our scene, and change the position to 0, 0, 0. Perfect. As we said before, the size of the marker is 0.1, so the size of the 3D model must be 0.1 to able to see better. Perfect. Now let's change the material. Drag and drop the texture of this material in here, and we have drag normal map. The normal map. Okay. Oh, lost it. Perfect. It is that position in here. Then the final things we have to do is click on AR Session, Origin, and drag and drop Robot into the Tracked Image Prefab. Now our camera, while it can detect the 3D and the 2D image of our marker, it will demonstrate this 3D robot on that position of that marker. Okay, let's test it in the real world. For that, we have to export an APK of our application. Come here, build settings. In here, make sure, and you need to click on add open scenes and make sure you have this scene, this 2D marker. And in here, click on build and write the name of that application you want to save as an APK. Then install this application on your mobile phone. Make sure after you installed your application on your mobile phone, the permission of camera must be active on your settings of your application, because without permission of camera you cannot see the camera's view on your application and you will see the black screen. Okay, let's test it in the real world. Okay, in this step, we want to learn how we can detect the ground and put the 3D model on ground, and don't using any image as a 3D mark or 2D marker or other type of markers. All right, we have a new scene. It's named ground detection. And look, it's similar to the previous one. We have AR Session Origin with the AR camera and AR Session and our 3D model and the directional light. Okay, but we have some changes in AR Session Origin. For example, in here we have AR Raycast Manager, AR Plane Manager, and AR Click to Place. It is a specific script which we made for detection the ground, and with using this components of AR Foundation library. And once we want to touch on a screen, instantiate an object on that position we have selected on ground. And also in AR Session, and we don't have any changes, but in AR Camera we have AR Pose Driver, AR Camera Manager, AR Camera Background, and the important one, Tracked Pose Driver. As you can see, it has some options. Two things you need to be sure about them. One is pose source. It must be color camera, and the second one is update type. It must be before render. Only that things you need to do. You can find all of these components tracked pose driver and AR session origin in your add component. It is already are in the library of the AR Foundation. And now let's check our script and our method for detection the ground and instantiate an object. It is very easy. The camera of the device try to detect the ground, and it will show you an object as a placement indicator. The placement indicator, in fact, it is a simple 2D quad with the any texture you want. For example, right now I have made this texture and put it in here. For example, we can imagine it is our ground and it is our placement indicator. Once you rotate your camera, it will change in the position in the real area, and once you touch on a screen, it tries to instantiate an object exactly that position of placement indicator, and try to throw an object, an empty object, it's called object to place, on the position of the placement indicator. It will be something like this, exactly the position of object to place. Then try to transform the robot 3D model into the position of the object to place. It will be like this. And we can see the 3D model in the real area. Okay, let's back it and check the place in here. Let's do save, and in the next part we want to check what is the content of the AR click to place script. Okay, it is a simple script we have made, and we want to check what is the content of it and what is the functionality of this script. We have a parameter, it's called public game object model. It is our 3D model, and this is a parameter for object to place, placement indicator. Other parameters are essential for the our process, and they are from the library of the AR Foundation, so we call them as a private. And in here, in the void start, we will get these parameters from an object which has AR session origin and AR cast manager, and that components we have added to the AR session origin. And in here, in the void update, we have a parameter, I call it one time. It is only works when you working on and tracking the ground, and you want to instantiate your 3D model one time. If you want to instantiate another objects, you will have, for example, 2 robots or 3 or 4 or another numbers. You can remove this part one time and remove this if. And so you can instantiate many times of your 3D model in the different positions. So in here, let's try to find a placement position of the ground detection. It is another void. In here, update placement pose. I don't want to talk about the details of these functions, because actually they are the default functions of the AR Foundation. Only we can use them. So don't worry about this script. I will share this script as a resource of this video clip and tutorial. You can download this script easily and drag and drop on your project. And so I only want to give you an explanation of the functionalities of this script. So don't worry about the details. I only explain what is the method of every function. And also in here, it is for the position of the camera, and in here the position of the placement indicator. And in here you can count of how many times you touch on your screen, and once you touch your screen, touch count more than 0, place object. It is the function you need to know what is the method of it. In here, once you touch on your screen, it's try to put a 3D model into that position. So in here we have already once again the one time. If you don't want to use one time, you need to remove the if of one time from here. So we have an object, it's called obj, and instantiate that object to place, that prefab object to place. It is an empty object, and you will put the position of that object to place into the placement, pose, position, and placement, pose, rotation. And in here you can say the position of the model, we have robot, and rotation of the model of that robot exactly equal the position and rotation of obj, exactly that object to place instantiated into the scene. So if you want to use only the one time, and you can say one time equal false, so this function is not working, and this function is not working, and this function is not working. If you don't want to use one time, you need to remove this one as well, and also this one as well, because it is only for one time, because it says okay, you instantiated your 3D model into the scene, so you don't need to have the placement indicator. And also in here, if you don't want to use the one time, you can remove this part, because it says okay, after you instantiate your 3D model into the scene, you don't need to have this script again, so it's try to enable itself. So you can remove this part if you want to instantiate your 3D model more than one time, or anytime you want. All right, so in here, for object to place, you have to create an empty object and call it object to place, and create a prefab folder into your asset project, and drag and drop your 3D model, your object to place into here, and create a prefab. Then in here you have to create an empty object, it's called placement indicator, and drag and drop a quad into here, and put your whatever you want for as a texture of this quad. So only things you need to know is the size of placement indicator must be 0.1, 0.1, 0.1 to be realistic into the real world. And the final step is you need to go here, AR session origin, drag and drop AR click to place into this object, and attach all the parameters of this AR to click to place. Model, it will be robot, object to place, it is the prefab of this object, and placement indicator, and this one, and also AR camera, it is the AR camera of your AR session origin. That's it. We have our basic ground detection and instantiate an object onto the that position you have selected. Okay, let's test it into the real place.